Good evening, welcome. Sorry for interruption. There was some technical issue. Now let us go to our program. We are today seeing a topic on supply chain performance measurement. Of course, we have seen this supply chain metrics in different format in my previous webinars. We will take a fresh relook about this performance metric. For any improvement you need to measure, and you should also know the right metrics for measurement. That's what we are going to see in this brief program. Of course, in our regular program, this is one of the main topic. So I am just pulling out some of those slides from our regular program and presenting here, so that you get a quick glimpse of what is required for supply chain performance measurement. This is my brief introduction. My LinkedIn profile. My name is Pattabhi Raman. I am based in Bangalore. This is my qualification. You can also see my experience working with these organizations, predominantly in supply chain domain. Presently I am CEO for the organization called Thoughtware Training Private Limited. These are my certification from ASCM Apex, also from Demand Driven Institute. One is from Institute of Supply Management and PMI. Hope you guys are able to hear me. Can you comment? Are you able to see me and hear me? Can you please comment? As far as my organization is concerned, we are based in Bangalore, 4-year-old organization, and I am heading this organization. We provide both consulting and training in the areas of supply chain and allied field. We operate with the trade name of Expert ACM. We provide both the executive certificate and diploma programs in all supply chain and allied domains, apart from global certification training programs. Today, we will come to the performance measurement in the supply chain and what are all financial analysis possible. So, this will be the topic today: characteristic of good performance measurement. What are those performance categories, and the supply chain finance connection, financial implications of supply chain strategies, and financial implication of supply chain services. So we will see three aspects. There is something called measure, metric, and index. In fact, a measure is a basic static form, requires no calculation, and with simple dimensions. For example, you can always talk in terms of units of inventory or back order dollars, but we don't mean much out of this basic measurement. Of course, this is the primary form when we have started earlier. Then comes the metric. In the metric, we use some calculation or a combination of measurements, often in the form of a ratio. You can take an example of inventory future days of supply or inventory turn. You can see more than one aspect is measured, and we are trying to convert into some form of ratio. Then comes the final form, index, or even you can say some form of machine learning, where we are combining two or more metrics into single indicator used to track, for example, trends in the output of a process. Example could be perfect order. Coming to the characteristic of a good performance metric, it should be quantitative. Of course, we are trying to measure something and try to improve upon that. It should be easy to understand. It encourages appropriate behavior, is visible to the people who are doing it, is defined and mutually agreed between all the stakeholder who are going to use this measurement. It encompasses outputs and inputs, measure only what is important, and it's a multidimensional, uses economies of effort, facilitates the trust. So you have to see when you are measuring any performances, whether it meets these basic requirement. Otherwise the performance could not be cannot be captured in a better way. Okay, coming to the various evolution of this measurement, you can see from 1960s. On the y-axis, you can see what are the levels of metrics, and in the x-axis, some key performance metric. In the earlier time, we were having simple measurement. You can see, for example, production cost, or it could be logistic performance standard. As we move to 70s, it was inventory cost by using MRP or comparing with the competitors. In 80s, it could be transport cost. So here we have come across the situation is also changing, and the technology available is also changing. In the 2000 and after, we are measuring in form of supply chain overall system wide cost. This is where possibly apart from ERP, the analytical tools can also help. So you can see in terms of y axis, it is at a excellent or superior stage now in terms of the performance measurement. And of course, successful development of supply chain metrics program is a result of team effort. It should involve customer and suppliers, and you should have a mutual agreement on the method of measurement and how you are going to evaluate it. Develop a tiered structure, identifies the metric owners and ties metric goal achievement to the individual or division's performance evaluation, establishes a procedure to mitigate conflicts, and is consistent with the corporate strategy, and establishes top management support. We will see what are the categories of measurement involved. Here we are talking three categories. One is process measure categories. Second one could be SCOR level 1 metric. Third one is logistic quantification pyramid. Coming to the process measure categories, we have four areas. One is basically on time, second one is quality, third is quality cost, fourth one could be any auxiliary item which supports the main activity. If you see in terms of time, we are talking about on time delivery or receipt, order cycle time, variability, response time. Of course, most of you might be using many of this characteristic in your current organization. Second comes the quality, overall customer satisfaction, processing accuracy, perfect order fulfillment, forecast accuracy. Of course, there are methods to measure these individual characteristic, and you have to see what is relevant to you to for your organization, depending upon the level in which you are operating. For example, if you are in planning, possibly we can look in terms of planning accuracy, budget, operating plan, or schedule adherence. In terms of cost, mainly inventory can come up. We can also talk in terms of cash to cash cycle time, total delivered cost. So many other possibilities are there. Here we are giving a summary of a process measure categories. Okay, so this is one way of measure metrics, and possibly you may be also aware there are score level metrics available. When we take score level, it is a supply chain operations reference model. They work on four important metrics, starting from supply chain reliability, supply chain responsiveness, supply chain flexibility, supply chain cost, supply chain asset management efficiency. You can see what are the metrics on the right side of this table. It is related to delivery performance, fill rate, or product order. It is perfect order fulfillment. It is something similar to the previous slide, but it is put in a different format. When it is coming to responsiveness, here we are seeing order fulfillment lead time, supply chain response time, all those. Then next, coming to the logistic quantification pyramid, we here four things are important in terms of channel satisfaction, transaction cost and revenue, logistic operations, and logistic service. Of course, we are going to see here in terms of product availability, order cycle time, logistic operation responsiveness, logistic system information, post sales logistic support. So this is also one of the popular method used in logistic for measuring the performance in the logistic subdomain. Coming to finance connection, the cost of providing logistic service not only affect the marketability of the product but also impacts the profitability. Inventory management and capital are totally linked. Same way, lead time and inventory cost and customer service are also linked. Possibly some are conflicting. That's where we have to see how we are going to tie them up. Also, you have order processing time and order to cash time. Also, we can see this revenue cost saving connection. The more you save, it is going to directly contribute to the net profit margin. You can see in terms of return on assets, where supply chain effectiveness directly contributes to revenue, whereas supply chain efficiency is the cost of operating the model. So when you subtract the cost from the revenue, you are going to get the profit. On the other hand, asset deployment and utilization, you have inventory, account receivable, cash, and fixed asset, which gives you a capital employed. When you combine this along with the profit, you are going to get the return on assets. Possibly we have to see what are all the factors which can be captured in this diagram finally to calculate the return on assets. Okay, you already know that supply chain impact on balance sheet. In terms of current asset, the inventory is represented as a current asset in the balance sheet. And you can see the metrics on the right hand side of the sheet in terms of what is going to impact your balance sheet in terms of cash or receivable, inventories, property, plant and equipment, current liabilities, all this. Accordingly, we have the measure. It's more important what is critical to you, and accordingly we can plan these measurement and evaluate them. Okay. Financial implication of supply chain strategies also very important. You can see depending on the channel structure management or inventory management, order management, or transportation management. If you try to optimize each one of this, ROE is going to improve. So we have to find out in each one of the area what are the contributing factor, how we can optimize each one of them. For example, in inventory management, we talking about a safety stock, optimize availability, improve information, eliminate obsolete excess stock. All this becomes very important. Okay, in terms of service, something similar happens, especially in terms of service failure. On one side we have correctly filled order, but there are also service failure happening. Finally, we have to see in terms of cost of lost order, or cost for rectification, or cost for re-handling, and how it is going to imply on the supply chain services. Okay, so we have seen briefly on various factors which is going to affect the supply chain performance, and what could be the possible metrics for the measurement. And here, of course, finally, at the end of the day, it should contribute to the growth of top line and bottom line. That's what we are trying to see here. You can approach us for any requirement on training or consulting. Of course, I will display our numbers in the coming slide. You can see any of this program. Most of this program was conducted weekends, live, online, and interactive programs. You can also avail internship or scholarship if you are in the entry level market. Finally, you can see our website address as well as the contact number. You are always welcome to connect to these numbers if you need any doubts or clarification. Anyone, any of the participant, any questions? So, if you need any doubt or clarification, you can always see our executives are interacting. Possibly, you can note their numbers, and you are welcome to contact them. We also have different live webinar outside the LinkedIn Live. So, if you are interested, you are welcome to register. Also visit our website if you are looking at different form of training. This is where these two website address are available here. Any questions from any of your participants? Okay, thanks for your participation. Have a nice evening. Bye.